Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I almost said Thursday. I'm trying to rush the week. That's because on Friday, I hit the river for 4 days. Woohoo! It's been a while. Looking forward to it. Okay. So Wednesday. Wednesday. Today, we talk about one of my favorite topics, which is messaging. It's one of my favorite topics because it can be a challenge on what to say and how to say it. So today, we're going to cover some of that anyway, during our 15 minutes together. Before we get started with the training, let me introduce Ronan Rahman, my co-host. Hello, sir.
Bonjour.
How are you?
Feeling French today.
Okay, well, I'll just call you Frenchie.
Yeah, I'll answer to it today.
Right.
I got the message. So yeah, today we're talking about messaging.
Great.
I know that we've got a lot of great stuff. And as always, we are live and we are looking for your questions, your comments. Let us know that you're here. Let us know that you're, got something going on and you want to know something about messaging. We're here to answer those questions. And with that, Brian, I'm going to scoot out of the way and let you do your
Cool.
thing.
Very good. So welcome. So messaging. There are a few different types of messages that we use in our business to get an appointment set up. And it begins with a simple connection message. And then we have some nurturing type messages that we send out to build the relationship, if you will. And of course, we have an appointment request message as well. And I'm going to show you some of those today here this morning and some strategies on how you might want to craft your messages to the people that you are also wanting to develop a relationship with. And these can be people that you have already been connected with for some time or people that you have recently connected with. Doesn't really matter. You can use these strategies for all kinds of people. So I'm going to switch over, or Ronan's going to switch me over to my screen, and I'm going to share some slides from our guaranteed sales appointment workshop, which, by the way, we have scheduled a date. Woohoo! We scheduled a date to do our next workshop, which is August 20th. And we are going to be hosting it virtually as well as in person. So we're going to limit the amount of in-person attendees to just 25 people in a room that holds about 100 people. So there'll be plenty of room for us to get spaced out. And then we're also going to be airing it virtually as well for those that either missed the opportunity to be with us here in Las Vegas or just want to attend virtually. So if you want information and be kept informed about how to get set up for that, just simply fill out the form on the link, guaranteedappointmentslive.com, which Ronan, I'm sure, has already posted, and we will make sure that you're informed where you can go into. We'll basically be unpacking our entire process for how we generate sales appointments. And so it's very, very powerful training, and we hope to see you there. All right, so connecting and messaging. So first is this, and this is something you really want to post in front of you, write it down. Every time you message someone else, do your very, very best to make it all about them. And I'm going to show you some ways that you can do this relatively easily, even during somewhat benign messages, or even when you're making a request of someone. I'm going to show you some examples now of how to do that. But this is really the key, because when you make it about them and what's important to the other person, your response rate is going to improve dramatically, because they will feel as if you care. They will feel as if you actually are taking some consideration for them, and it's not just about what you want. And this is true in all communication, right? It's imperative when you're messaging people through LinkedIn or any kind of social media, because 90% of the time or more, it's not about them. It's about something else. And so when you make it about them, it's refreshing, and it helps you stand out among all of the noise that's out there. So first, let me just show you a very simple, very effective connection request message. Okay, so what you're looking at here is a connection request message that our account manager sent out on behalf of our client, Joe Kennemore. Okay, and the message reads, "Simon, hope you are doing well. Let's connect here on LinkedIn. signed Joe. Now, it's very simple, right? But there is some strategy here, okay? First and foremost, if you've done your work on your profile, which we went over yesterday, then when you send this connection request message out, it carries along with it some of those 3-point power items that we talked about yesterday, in particular, your headline. And so if you've done the job on your headline, when you send out these connection requests, the people that receive them are either going to go, A, this is someone I want to connect with based on their headline. B, this is someone I want to learn more about. So maybe they go click over and look at your profile. Or C, they may not be interested at all. Either way, it's good because you're filtering out who is going to be potentially a good relationship for you. And because you've done the work on your profile, in particular your headline, which you can't see here, but trust me, it is carried through. So that's number one. Number two is there's some keywords that we've used in this very simple connection request message. The first keyword, of course, is the other person's first name. That inherently makes it about them, and people like hearing the sound of their name. So use it in your messages. Number two is we use the word you, Y-O-U, and in a way that's caring, right? So every time we use the word you or we use the word your, something like that, it again inherently makes the message about the other person. We're not having to sell anything here. We're not having to do any fancy footwork here or make up some weird statements. I mean, we've seen it all, right? If you're active at all on LinkedIn or you've been on LinkedIn anytime recently, you see all these silly, like cliche things like crossing my fingers that you'll connect with me, or you came up in my LinkedIn feed. Ditch all that stuff. That smells like spam, and that you're not who you say you are. So just be very specific, very real, very short and sweet, make it about them. That's it. So this is a connection request message that you can copy and use yourself, make it your own, but I wouldn't go much beyond this. This really works very well. All right, next. So now you've connected with someone. What do you say? How do you say it? Well, one thing that you can do is just thank them very simply for accepting your connection request. Try to get into some kind of a dialogue here. All right. So a day later or 2 days later, or whenever you're back on LinkedIn, for anybody that accepted your connection request, to simply say something like this. In this case, this is Ronan speaking with someone he recently connected with. Hi, John. Thanks for connecting. I hope all is well with you and business is good at Allegiance. Again, we're using that keyword you. We're using the first name of the person. We're also mentioning the name of the company that the person works for. So again, 3 little subtle things, but they're all about the other person. And it's not salesy. It's refreshing. It's cool. And when you begin the next process where you're going to start trying to nurture this relationship, all these messages are stored in the thread. So you want to make sure that everything you put out in Messenger, you want to have seen in perpetuity by the other person. So let's talk about a strategy that we use. We have a lot of different strategies that we use to nurture relationships. This happens to be one of our favorite, which is we clip an article from the internet that we think might be of value to the other person. So this is the same conversation, or the same person, if you will, John, who Ronan recently connected with. And John is in the IT space. And so Ronan found this article at this website called business2community.com that he thought John might be interested in reading. So he sends it, just basically copies and pastes the URL from the article. Ronan found this article on Google. Very simple to do. Just do some Google searches and you'll find stuff that might be of interest to the other person. And then when you send the article, say something about it, right? Like say something small about it, and maybe even ask a question of the other person to see if you can garner a response, which Ronan did here at the end. He says, John, have you experienced what the article is describing? And what's your strategy for going after those technology dollars? Again, when you do that, you're using the person's first name, you're using that keyword of your, and it really makes it about the other person, as if you have an interest in them. I mean, keep in mind here, at some point, you may in fact have a conversation with these people. You may in fact end up doing business with these people. So start the relationship on the right foot, if you will, right? Okay, so that's a strategy. We call it sending third-party curated, relevant content to the other person based on what they might be interested in. One thing I will mention is, and we talked about this on Monday actually, is we run these connection requests as campaigns, right? So one of the reasons we do that is we can use the same article over and over and over again with dozens or even hundreds of people during that campaign, right? If we are connecting with a whole bunch of IT service providers, in this particular case, let's say for the next 60 days, this same article is probably relevant to most of them. So it makes your job of nurturing these new relationships much easier when you campaign it. And then if you switch to another market, great. You'll find another article or two that makes sense for them. And you can keep recycling these articles over and over again for the same campaign. All right, let's move on to a result. So in this particular case, after a few weeks of doing this, in this particular case, John responded to Ronan, thanking him for sending these articles and providing his contact information and his calendar link to set up an appointment. So now this doesn't always happen as smoothly as this. I mean, in this case, Ronan honestly didn't even ask for an appointment, but this is what's possible. And imagine if you consistently do this week after week after week, this is the kind of thing that is possible and will ultimately happen for you. So I wanted to show you that example. In the case that it doesn't overtly happen or doesn't happen naturally like this, you can make an overt request for an appointment. And here's how we do it. This is from another client of ours, Mark Lugert, and we just basically said, Hema, it's great being connected. I'd like to find out more about you and your work at Optum. Again, making it about her company. If you have any time, I'd love to have a quick 15-minute chat. You can message me back or click on my schedule link. So that's one approach for requesting an appointment. And they may respond to that with booking on your calendar. They may respond with what is it that you'd like to talk about. They may respond with whatever. And from there, you can take the conversation to the next level. One thing I will say is we do get some responses with, well, why is it that you want to talk with me? What's the nature of the conversation? You've kind of stated that, right, already by saying, I'd like to find out more about you and your work at Optum, right? But for some reason that confuses people because they are thinking that sometimes their radar goes up, like, what's this person want to talk to me for? And I would just repeat that or rephrase it. Just say, I'm just, in these days and times, it's nice to get to know some people. Who knows where that may lead? So it's just a friendly 15-minute quick chat to learn about each other. I mean, that's really what it is. And if the person is open to that, great. If they're not open to that, big deal, right? Just move on to the next person. So that's really what it's all about. And it's during those short conversations that you may find some synergies that may make sense for you and the people that you're connecting with. So those are some different strategies, some different methodologies, if you will, for getting the job done when it comes to messaging and setting up appointments. I am going to come back now to full screen. There I am. And bring on Ronan. Hi there.
Hey.
Did you just change shirts between?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I thought you were wearing something completely different when we started this. So, wow.
Yeah, no, it's exactly like the way you described it. The messaging goes that way. You do get a host of different things responded to. But the great thing is that we do this live. So a lot of times we respond in real time to them, and most people will thank you for the things that you send them. I've had people write whole rebuttals or whole opinions about the article that we sent them. And when we're doing this for clients, it's like, whoa, I'm not even in your industry, right? But I know that I'm being that other persona. So there's ways to engage that way, and it just builds and you get connected. If they want to know, why do you want to talk to me? It's like, well, this is networking. This is LinkedIn. That's right. That's what I'm doing.
That's what LinkedIn's about. And you will get some outliers that just say, don't send me any messages anymore or whatever. And this just like, you don't have to have very thick skin, but have a little bit of thick skin. Like if that happens, just say, okay, great, no problem. Like you don't even have to respond to it. Just stop sending them messages. They obviously do not want to have a conversation. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't want to use the term numbers game, but in a way it is, right? I mean, don't send out 20 messages and think you're done, right? Like have a consistent pattern of doing this like every day.
That's
And
the critical thing.
that is
And
the critical.
one other thing I wanted to mention too, you talked about those the messages that we receive to connect. I see like we share a lot of the same people in the network. I see that you're this
Don't
and
do
this,
that.
and I'm that too. You know, I mean, it's like, wait, didn't I just see that? Oh, I've
Yeah.
seen it like 3 times today.
Yeah.
So, you know, just a straightforward, hey, let's
Let's connect here on LinkedIn. And that's why we use that, because even though they may see that over and over again, it's not that complicated. It's just so simple and just,
Yeah.
there's no baloney, right? When you start trying to get cute and do the whole crossing fingers, I hope you accept my connection request thing, or you came up in my LinkedIn feed, or we share a bunch of mutual friends together.
Right.
That is
Yeah.
so overused.
That's
Oh my
another
gosh. Like we've all seen that. So just
Yeah.
don't do any of that stuff. It's not believable because it's not true. And
Right.
so just leave all that out. Like just be just real. Like let's connect here on LinkedIn. Period. Done.
You know,
You
and actually, you said something really great there about being real. You wouldn't do that in a live networking. You wouldn't want
would like, let's say you want someone's phone number. You'd be like, hey,
I
let's
think we know all
exchange
the
phone
same
numbers.
people here,
Right?
right?
It's not, yeah, it's like, let's exchange phone numbers. That's all you would say. You wouldn't say, hey, we have the same, it looks like we have the same kind of phone. Maybe we should exchange phone numbers. What? It's like it doesn't make, it just doesn't fit. Like, you know, like
Too funny.
exactly. No, it's so, I mean,
It's crazy. I think you're at your best when you're being authentic, and most people, when they get these messages, their crap detector goes off.
yeah.
So, you know, you want to cut through that. And one way to do it is just to be really real and just be straight up with people. Hey, you know, I'm networking and I would love to connect. Or just let's connect. It's people get it. It's not a
I want to
mistake.
close with one more thing because we got into this actually, and it just occurred to me. So, when someone asks you, when you make a appointment request, why is it that you want to speak with me, right? In the name of being completely authentic, right? I do this all the time. I literally will say the reason, right? The reason is this. Sometimes when I've had these conversations with people that I've met through social media, it ends up developing into a business relationship. Period. Which
Right.
is true. And you're actually exposing your true intention. So just be real about it, right? And if they don't like that, oh, well, you know, it's like, move on. Anyway.
Yeah, you probably would not have gotten along anyway.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, so great. So tomorrow, though, we're going to continue the conversation with how to get to those people, how to find those people.
That's right.
Specifically, yes, we're going to do some LinkedIn searching, but we're also going to show you the power of Sales Navigator.
That's right.
And how you can really hone in on who you're campaigning with. And
that's right. We may have to do a double session tomorrow because Friday I'm going to be on the river. So I don't think I'm going to have any ability to do one on Friday. We'll see. Or maybe we'll just do something really great. But anyway, we'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m.
Yeah. All right.
And awesome. That's all I got. Have an amazing Wednesday.
Yeah. Make it a great day. Bye.